What if I told you that the most powerful habits aren't the ones you force every day, but the ones that emerge effortlessly, invisible as water that flows without asking permission? Imagine if the key to changing your life wasn't waking up at 5 a.m., nor endless checklists, but in 7 Taoist gestures so subtle they seem non-existent, yet precisely because they transform everything. There's an ancient secret, hidden in parables over 2,000 years old, that can dissolve your procrastination, ease your anxiety, and restore your vital energy without having to abuse yourself with artificial discipline. Lao Tzu called it living in harmony with the Tao. And when applied as a daily habit, it's like planting invisible roots that support an entire tree without anyone noticing. I'm not talking about exhausting willpower, nor motivational mantras that evaporate before the end of the week. It's not about trying to be perfect, controlling every detail, or pretending you never feel tired. You've tried all of that, and you always come back to the same point. This path is different. The knowledge I will reveal comes from Lao Tzu, the sage who wrote the Tao Te Ching, and Zhuangzi, who laughed at the rigidity of the world by telling stories of butterflies that didn't know whether they were men dreaming or men's dreams. These are voices that echo beyond time, whispering that true habits are not created by control, but by natural flow. This knowledge has been fragmented, distorted, and forgotten amid self-help formulas, productivity gurus, and market spirituality. Today, almost no one speaks about it clearly. You are facing a rare moment, the reunion with the lost parchment of invisible habits. And in this video, you'll receive the first key, not the 7 habits yet, just the initial portal, an invisible habit that can transform the way you breathe, think, and act in the next few hours, effortlessly, without resistance, without internal warfare. If you feel ready to let go of the fight against yourself and experience the root of gentle, true change, write in the comments, "I choose to flow." This simple gesture will be the first step towards entering the current of Tao. Have you ever tried to forcefully change your life? You woke up early, made lists, promised to never procrastinate again. And yet, after a few days, the discipline that seemed solid crumbled like sand in your hands. Frustration creeps in silently. Why doesn't anything last? Could it be that I'm the problem? No, the problem isn't you. The problem is that the method was superficial. They promise clarity in 7 steps, productivity in a week, instant happiness in a sentence. But what do they deliver? More pressure, more anxiety, more fatigue. They're like medications that provide temporary relief, but never heal the root cause. You keep going in circles, wasting energy on techniques that only work on paper. Remember the last time you decided to make a radical change? Maybe you bought a course, started a new routine, set yourself the goal of waking up at 5 a.m. At first, it seemed possible, but soon your body felt heavy, your mind complained, and your motivation evaporated. All that was left was guilt, as if you'd failed again. But the truth is, you didn't fail. It was the method that would never work. They promise liberation, but deliver pressure. They talk about control, but generate anxiety. They sell discipline, but produce exhaustion. What's missing isn't effort. What's missing is the invisible piece, the Taoist habit that doesn't impose itself, but takes root gently, like bamboo growing without fanfare. What if your life didn't require another forced technique, but a return to what's already natural within you? What if the discipline you seek wasn't control, but harmony? What is lacking is not strength. What's missing is not motivation. What's missing is the invisible key. Invisible habits weren't born in modern self-help manuals. They were preserved by sages who walked in silence more than 2,000 years ago. Lao Tzu, in his Tao Te Ching, wrote that he who bends remains whole. He wasn't just talking about humility, but about the art of creating flexible roots that can withstand any storm. Zhuangzi told us parables that seemed like dreams, but were maps to inner freedom. He said that true power is that which no one perceives, because it acts without imposing itself. Other masters, such as Lao Tzu and Zhuangzi, explored symbols of wind, water, and bamboo to show that true discipline is not born of rigidity, but of adaptation. Even contemporary science is beginning to echo this mystery. Neuroscientists like Richard Davidson have proven that gentle mindfulness practices transform the brain's structure more profoundly than forced efforts. It's as if, after millennia, science has confirmed what Lao Tzu already knew. Gentleness overcomes rigidity. These distinct voices point to the same secret. There's a source of power that doesn't shout, doesn't flaunt, and doesn't need to be sustained by effort. An invisible thread connects these traditions, but few have the courage to follow it. You are about to touch that thread. Over the centuries, this knowledge has been distorted into easy formulas or reduced to metaphors without real practice. But here, now it returns alive, direct, applicable. You are not faced with just another method. You are faced with a rare wisdom, hidden in silence, revealed only to those who truly seek it. Imagine waking up without the feeling of heaviness, without the internal struggle against yourself. Imagine moving through the day with clarity, without having to force yourself to be productive, but letting your energy flow naturally like a river that never stops. This isn't a distant fantasy. It's the transformation possible when you practice the invisible habits of the Tao. We're not talking about motivation that lasts a week. We're talking about a permanent change, rooted in every simple gesture, conscious breathing, pausing before reacting, and gently being present in every decision. It's a silent force that never runs out because it's born not from exhaustion, but from harmony. This clarity was celebrated by Lao Tzu when he wrote that he who knows himself is enlightened. It was experienced by Zhuangzi when he laughed at human rigidity in the face of life's fluidity. It was echoed by Dogen, the Zen master, when he reminded us that merely sitting can be the most revolutionary practice in a world obsessed with movement. Today, you have the opportunity to walk this same path. I don't promise perfection. I promise a path of lightness, deep roots, and constant presence. The first step will be enough to feel the difference between fighting life and flowing with it. Throughout this video, you'll learn the first practical key to experiencing this transformation. It won't be a distant theory. It'll be something applicable, immediate, and capable of shifting your energy in the next few hours. The body is the first temple of the Tao. There's no point in talking about spirituality if your breath is still shallow and anxious, if your body lives on alert like a soldier at war. Lao Tzu wrote that the soft overcomes the hard. And this also applies to the way we breathe. When you breathe shallowly, you send the brain the message that you're in danger. When you breathe deeply, the message is different. I am safe. Try it now. Inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 2, and release for a count of 6. Repeat 3 times. Notice what changes. Perhaps a slight tingling in your hands, a feeling of heaviness in your body, or even an involuntary sigh. This is your body recognizing that it can rest. Practicing this breathing daily is like watering the roots of a tree, invisible to the eye, but vital to everything that grows above ground. A scattered mind is like a river that overflows. It loses strength, causes destruction, and goes nowhere. A focused mind is like a laser. It cuts through any obstacle with relentless smoothness. But how can we train this without artificial effort? The answer is to choose less. Lao Tzu said, "Those who accumulate much lose much." Take a piece of paper right now and write, "Today my priority is," just one line, nothing more. If you try to list 10 things, tear it up. The challenge is to simplify. Then, dedicate 25 minutes to just that priority without distractions. This small act recreates natural discipline. You don't force your mind, you direct it as if guiding a river back to its bed. At the end, write it down in a sentence. My mind today was, and complete it with one word. This ritual, performed daily, is the laser that replaces distraction. Have you ever felt like modern life steals your energy without you even realizing it? News, obligations, demands, as if each one drains a drop of your vitality. The spirit, according to the Tao, doesn't need to be recharged. It needs to be remembered. Lao Tzu said, "Return to the root, and you will find stillness." Simple practice. Walk for 15 minutes, without your cell phone, just breathing. With each step, silently say, "I am here." When your mind tries to rush to the future or get stuck in the past, return to your pace. At the end of the walk, ask yourself, what blossomed in me now? Maybe it's silence, Maybe it's lightness. This is the spirit breathing again. If done daily, it becomes an inexhaustible source because energy doesn't come from outside, but from within. Our emotions are like storms. Ignoring them doesn't work. Resisting them is exhausting. But learning to navigate them can transform chaos into strength. The Tao doesn't ask you to eliminate emotions, but to acknowledge them. Practice. When anger arises, name it quietly. This is anger. Notice where it resides in your body. Throat, chest, stomach. Take 3 deep breaths in that area. The simple act of naming slows the brain's automatic impulses. It's as if you're telling your body, I don't need to fight you. I can walk beside you. Over time, each emotion ceases to be an enemy and becomes raw energy that can be transformed into clarity, action, or silence. This is the emotional alchemy Lao Tzu intuited, transforming storms into wind that moves the boat forward instead of sinking it. Once body, mind, spirit, and emotions begin to align, the next step arises, creating portals of presence. These are short sequences that teach your system to recognize the state of clarity. An example of a 3-minute portal. Sit with your spine straight. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 2, release for 6 counts, 3 cycles. Close your eyes and visualize a tree. Feel its roots touching the earth. In a low voice say, I root, I choose. Take 3 slow steps, feeling the contact of your feet with the ground. This micro-ritual signals to your body and mind that it's time for deep presence. Repeat it before difficult conversations, making important decisions, or beginning something that requires clarity. Over time, just the first breath is enough for the entire system to recognize the state. After practicing breathing and the presence portal, certain signs begin to appear. Perhaps it's a slight warmth rising up your arms, a tingling in your fingers, or even a sigh that emerges on its own. The body silently speaks, I'm returning to balance. These signs aren't illusions. They're subjective proof that you've moved from alert mode to regeneration mode. At first, you may find the space between one thought and another strange. It feels like a void, but you soon discover that this emptiness is precious. It's in it that clarity is born. The internal noise fades, and a new perception emerges. You are not your thoughts, you observe them. This discovery, small but radical, is like opening a window in a room that has been closed for years. You might be surprised to realize that anger that once exploded now transforms into energy for lucid action. Or that sadness, instead of dragging you down, brings stillness and depth. It's not that emotions disappear, it's that they change form. Lao Tzu said, music is born from the void between the notes. So too, when embraced, emotions can transform into melody instead of noise. After days of practice, something more subtle happens. You walk down the street and notice a lightness you can't explain. Colors seem more vivid. Time seems more spacious. Small moments become portals to something greater. This isn't cheap mysticism. It's physiology combined with wisdom. When body, mind, and emotions align, the spirit breathes, and you feel life as if it were new. Don't expect spectacular signs. Expect subtle but unmistakable signs. The relief in your chest, the silence between 2 thoughts, the pause before reacting. These are the invisible milestones of real transformation. The proof lies in your own experience, not in external promises. What you've witnessed aren't 7 habits, but the first gateways to a life with less conflict and more fluidity. They don't require willpower, but rather the desire to be gentle. The first secret, breathing, is not an exercise, but a reminder that the body is the first temple, capable of anchoring the mind in the midst of chaos. The second, the laser focus, is not about productivity, but about the noble art of choosing what really matters, dissolving the anxiety of dispersion. The third, silent walk, is not just movement, but a ritual to return to the source of energy that never runs out, because it is already within you. Finally, alchemy of emotions and the presence portal teaches that life is not about avoiding storms, but about learning to navigate them, transforming what was once an obstacle into a driving force. All these gestures, in their apparent simplicity, form what Lao Tzu called the way of non-action. It's not inertia, but an action so perfectly aligned with the natural flow of the universe that it seems effortless. It's like bamboo that bends in the wind but never breaks. It's like water that flows around rock but eventually wears it away. And it's like you, who, when you stop struggling, begin to truly flourish. You sought discipline, change, purpose, relief from anxiety. But what if the ultimate revelation wasn't a new habit, but rather the rediscovery of who you already are? Lao Tzu didn't speak of control, but of harmony with your own nature. Occult alchemy doesn't transform you into someone else. It dissolves what isn't you. Procrastination, anxiety, emptiness, all of these are not your essence, but merely resistance. The secret of the Tao, then, is that the power you so desperately sought has always been within you. The lost scroll didn't teach you something new, but reminded you of what you've forgotten, your own essence. Discipline isn't an effort. It's the natural state of a river that flows without needing a command to run. Real change isn't a war, but a return. You don't need to become anything. You need only allow what you already are to flourish. Most people will watch this video, feel the truth, and then return to the rat race, searching for the next shortcut, the next promise, the next brute force method. But you could be the exception. Change doesn't begin with 1,000 steps, but with a single, simple, and gentle gesture. My final invitation is for you to choose a single non-habit from those I've shared, be it breathing, silent walking, or pausing to observe your anger. Just one. Practice it today with the lightness of a leaf falling from a tree at just the right moment. To continue this journey of genuine transformation, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. And let me leave you with one final thought. Perhaps the greatest act of discipline isn't doing something, but stopping doing what no longer serves you. The answer to your anxiety may lie, ironically, in a deep, relaxed sigh.